What is up, Booger Beans? Welcome back to another episode of Adventures with Boog, your weekly source for canoeing, fishing, and camping. On this episode, we are going to go through sort of our winter setup here. I've been talking about it a lot in our last couple episodes, and I finally got the tent and we've got the stove to a sort of state that we can possibly start using it. So I'm going to show you guys the tent. I'm going to set it up here in the shop tonight. And then I'm going to also show you kind of some of the upgrades we got to do before we can use it. But before we get into that, lots of you guys commented Murik on our last MTB tackle box video. We really appreciate the comments. Keep them coming. They help build our channel and help grow a subscriber base and just bring great content to you guys. So before we get going, I'm going to throw this guy on the canoe, although he's not going to get out till next summer. But I'm going to put him on there for you guys, and then we'll get into the shack and kind of how we're going to go through our winter camping and let you guys know what's going on. Right behind Booger here is the ice fishing tent that we bought. So this is a 6-man HT ice fishing tent. It's 160 inches long, 97 inches wide by 80 inches tall. It looks to be a pretty good tent. I did set it up once already just to make sure it was in okay shape because the box was kind of mangled from the store. So that's kind of what we've got. We're gonna hopefully set up either a cot or even just an air mattress kind of stack for the winter. And yeah, we'll see what happens here. So I'm gonna take it out of the bag, set it up, and see what's all in it. Okay, so the bag does come with two straps on it, so you can actually wear it like a backpack, like this, if you are gonna walk out on the ice. So that's kind of not bad. It is actually a pretty light tent. I would honestly, we have an Eskimo 3-man hut, and I would say they're pretty similar in weight. This one, even though it's double the size, it's definitely not double the weight. So I'm assuming that's because the fabric's probably a little thinner, maybe a little lighter poles. But it seems like it's pretty good quality. The straps are adjustable here. Metal grommets or metal loops. And two nice beefy zippers along the top. So then, when we open the bag up, we've got this is a black tent with basically yellow doors and some yellow writing on it. The black is kind of nice in the winter too, not only for ice fishing, if you're actually using it for ice fishing. We're not going to really be using this for ice fishing, mostly just for camping. But when you are ice fishing in the sun in the winter, it actually helps to warm up the tent a little bit. Then you add your little heater and you're more than good enough for the whole day, that's for sure. So in the bag here, we've got the tent, which is really nice about this is the bag is more than big enough to fit the tent after you get it all unfolded and uncompressed, because lots of times these tents come with bags that are so tiny, you get the tent out and you can never get the tent back in the bag. So that's really nice that the bag has lots of space for the tent. So I'm just gonna pull this guy out of here. There we go. Set him aside for now. And then you can see the bag is a kind of a waterproof material. It's rather thick actually, pretty heavy. And then there's also a bag of ice picks, ice cleats that you can screw right into the ice. I don't know, it might be a little bit difficult to do by hand. But you can also get a little tool that kind of clamps on here and to screw them in. And then also some pretty heavy duty actually, it almost looks like 550 cord tie out lines to tie out all the sides and all the poles. And there's 8 8 tie-out lines in there. So that's nice. It comes with all that, nice little bag, and then it comes in a nice little pouch itself to kind of stop those little spikes from poking through everything. And then it's just got a little tie on the top. Maybe that's a little bit low quality tie. It's not even the same length. But for us, that's fine. Just throw it back to the bottom of the bag, and let's set up the tent and see what she looks like. Alright, so I just got this tent set up behind me here. It's super easy to set up. It takes like 60 seconds to set up. Nice colors, nice bright yellow on the front there. It does seem to be about that same fabric that all the tents are made of. This tent we got on sale for 350 bucks. That's 350 Canadian for you guys viewers watching in the United States. This is it's a basic fishing tent. There's nothing really special to it. It's got lots of windows, a window on basically every single side, and it's got about that 8 to 10 inch snow skirt all around the outside to put snow on top of. It's got anchors on the inside, as well as these nice metal hub tabs right here that you can put your guy wires out to hold it down in the wind and help in those windy conditions. So I'm going to go put the stove inside, put up the lights, and then I'll take you guys for a little tour inside and see what it's like. Alright guys, so now we are inside the tent here, and both doors are on the same side of the tent, which is really nice if you're going ice fishing, because you can put your holes along one side of the tent, and then you can get in and out on the other side. You don't have to worry about stepping in holes, which can be kind of annoying in some of the smaller tents. So once you come in, there is a metal hub up on the roofs that I have these little LED magnetic lights attached to them right now, which might be what we do. We might just get a couple more of those and use those. They're just AA powered, and you plug them in, good to go, no issues. Or we might maybe figure something else out with a string of lights that maybe goes around all the poles. Give it a little bit of like a Christmas holiday feel when we go out. See how that goes. So I'm just gonna move you guys over to the side here, and I'm gonna go through kind of our stove setup that we have in here, and how that's gonna go and how that's gonna kind of heat our tent, okay? Alright, so this is our wood stove. I actually built it myself. Now that I look back at it, probably would have been just easier to buy one. But there's a lot of features in this stove that a lot of the ones out there that I could find for, you know, a couple $100 didn't have. So it's got a baffle for efficiency, gasifier on the back. It's got a pellet hopper, which we'll be using at night. That goes in the front right here. We can fill with pellets so it can get that slow burn all night long. It's also got a cooktop, which is actually like maybe 3/8 or yeah, I think it's 3/8 plate on the top here. It gets very nice and warm. I've literally put an ice cube on here and it will disappear in like 2 seconds once I get the fire going in it. Then we got just a little bend here to help get some more heat out of those wood gases before it leaves the tent, rather than just going straight out the top. Also, it helps to move the stove a little bit away from the tent, because although it's pretty good fabric, and it is flame resistant fabric, it's not flame proof. So if I just put the stove right against this fabric, guaranteed that fabric would just melt or it would light on fire eventually. So right now we just have it kind of spaced out about 12-15 inches away from the stove, or away from the tent. And then we have to actually build a stove jack for the pipe to go through the roof. So that's going to be a process. They don't really make ice fishing hut stove jacks. So we're going to be building our own, and that's going to be possibly the next couple upcoming videos on how we make it, sew it, get it in here, get it set up, and get it working. This stove does crank out a lot of really good heat, so I don't see any issues with heating this space, that's for sure. We're also going to get like an eco fan, put it on here. This will be sort of our sleeping area on that side of the tent, and then we'll have the stove here with a table and kind of a seating area here and here, for when we're just kind of hanging out in the cold. So I'm just gonna show you a couple features of the tent while it's set up, and then we'll pack her down and get on to the next video. Alright guys, so right behind me here we have the windows. They've got a flap here to cover them up to make it dark if you are ice fishing, so you can see down your hole. Flap just pops open if you want the light, and also this plastic piece does come right off the tent if you want extra air ventilation. Also right above that here we have an air vent, fresh air vent. These are not closable. I was kind of hoping they'd have a little bit of Velcro, so if you wanted to close them right down, you could, in case the wind was coming from that side of your tent or something like that. But they unfortunately aren't. So I might end up sewing on or putting on a piece of Velcro so that at least you can just close the flap a little bit to help stop the wind coming right up into your tent. Yeah, that's really it. Nice, these hubs on the tent are all metal hubs, which was one of the selling features. This tent, if we're out in an Albertan blizzard, it could be pretty hairy. We're gonna try and avoid those situations as best we can, but you never know what can happen in Alberta. The weather can change in 2 minutes. So yeah, that's about all for the tent, guys. I'm gonna pack her down, and then later on tonight I'm gonna start building the stove jack and how we're gonna do the stove jack, and get working on that. So just a couple more things before we go here, guys. One nice thing that I do like about these doors is they have a piece of Velcro here, so you can put them open. Then if you have to get, you're loading all your fishing stuff, the door's not always getting in your way. It's not getting stepped on the ground. It's not getting blown about in the wind. So that's really nice that it has that feature to lock that kind of away. And also, it's got top and bottom zippers. So it's kind of a double zipper system, which is really nice too. Locks up really good. It's a good little setup, that's for sure. So I'm just gonna push down the tent, and I'll show you guys how quickly it goes down. And then I'm just gonna go through a couple of the features of our wood stove, and then you guys can have a great night. All right, so I just kind of wanted to go over our stove a little bit more here, a little bit more in detail. So on the front of our stove, we have a bottom feeding. We also have this open hole that actually allows pellets to drop inside and then burn with basically air coming underneath it. On the inside of the stove there, you can see that's basically the little pellet hopper that I built. The pellets do burn pretty well, and they burn about a cup an hour is kind of about how long it takes to burn. But also on the inside of the stove, which lots of stoves didn't have, was I can also burn wood. So I put a grate in the bottom, and then I can burn full logs if I want to get that tent nice and hot when we first get there. And then when we want the slow burn, when we go to bed, or when we're just maintaining the heat in the tent, then we don't need to use logs, and we can just use the pellets, which are much easier to use, that's for sure. Close, push it, locks up, put the pellets on, feed the pellets. Away she burns, good to go. That's our stove, guys. Thanks for watching. Our next video is going to be kind of a DIY on how to build a stove jack. I've never done it before. This is my first experience doing it. The reason that I've decided to do a DIY is because I can't find a 3-inch stove jack, and I can't really find one that is a reasonable price. I found one 3-inch one that's about $189, which is absolutely crazy since our whole tent was only $350. That to have spent another $200 on a stove jack just seems out of the realm of possibility for me. So we're gonna do a DIY fiberglass cloth and high temp silicone stove jack, which is basically what all the stove jacks are. And yeah, thanks for watching, guys. If you haven't already, go down there, give this video a like if you enjoyed our stuff, if you enjoy watching some of our adventures and that sort of stuff. Also, please feel free to subscribe. It doesn't cost you anything, but it really helps our channel out. It really helps us grow and really helps us bring in new viewers who can enjoy our adventures just like you. So as always, guys, thanks for watching. Have a great night, and hook sets are free.